Over the past month or so, you have heard me talk about the students with ADHD and anxiety that are misunderstood. The 504 plans that exist only on paper and not in practice. Classroom environments that create pressure instead of support, and situations where students felt discouraged instead of helped. Different stories, but the same experiences. In the past few weeks, I know of multiple students who have been removed from the regular classroom setting and are now being homeschooled. Parents forced to make these decisions because the schools continue to not meet their child's needs. In the upcoming weeks, I know of more students who will be doing the same exact thing. And that's not okay. We should not be forced to remove our children from the public school environment and homeschool them just because we cannot get the simple accommodations that they need to make their education worthwhile for them. Instead, we have classrooms that have created trauma for these students who push them aside and ignore them. And this cannot keep happening. These are patterns, and these things need to change. The patterns don't lie. This is showing us what the systems are allowing to continue. If you've been listening to me, then you cannot ignore this. You need to pay attention. Talk about it. Ask questions. Ask your students questions. Ask them about stuff that goes on in school. Even if you have a child that is having a wonderful experience, they still see these other things that are happening. So ask the questions, because the change isn't going to happen if we all just remain quiet. It happens when we start to connect the dots and talk to each other about really what's going on. I've been watching the school committee meetings, and I've heard the numbers. The evaluations completed, the graduation rates, the AP classes, the college prep, the budget topic. I've seen students come in and speak about the opportunities that they've been given and how the school has helped them succeed. And that matters. It really does. There are good things happening in our school district, but that is not the full picture. What I don't hear is about the students who need extra help. I don't hear how 504 plans are actually being implemented in the classrooms. I don't hear about the kids who are struggling to keep up. I don't hear about the children crying in the bathroom. I don't hear about the kids being bullied at recess, the chaos some students experience every single day. I don't hear about what needs to improve. Why? Because it's easier to talk about the success than it is to talk about the failure. But ignoring the hard things doesn't make them go away. It just allows them to continue, but quietly, while more kids fall through the cracks. And this is why listening to these children matters. Not just the success stories, but the hard ones, the uncomfortable ones, the ones that don't get the applause. Behind those stories are real experiences, bullying, failing grades, anxiety, and silent suffering that often goes unnoticed. When we listen, we bring those stories to light, and that's where change begins. Parents have more power than they think. When we come together, speak openly, and support one another, we can create a space for real conversations and the kind that lead to real solutions. No child should feel afraid to go to school. No parent should be afraid to speak up. And these conversations need to happen without fear, without retaliation, without name calling, and without threats. Because this isn't about winning an argument. It's about making sure every child feels safe, supported, and able to succeed. And that should never be a controversial topic. This is me speaking up. This is me calling on others to speak up just as loudly. This is me calling on the school committee and the administration to expect and ensure that their teachers are following all students' accommodations. Because the change doesn't happen quietly. It happens when we speak up. And it doesn't happen unless we demand it.